If you haven't watched part 1 of this video first, do that now. Otherwise, it sort of defeats the purpose of having 2 parts. Also, some of this probably won't make sense. Anyway, moving on. In the case that the turn player successfully summons a monster, they also have priority to activate any monster's spell speed 1 ignition effect once. I guess it's time for another round of examples. Go for it, Kaga. This is easy. Example number 1. The turn player normal summons their exiled force, and neither player opted to negate this summon with something such as Forced Back or Solemn Judgment. Since the summon is successful, the turn player can choose to activate the ignition effect of their exiled force by tributing it as a cost and selecting the target for destruction. The non-turn player can then chain any appropriate effect in response to this summon or effect, but it would be foolish to try to activate their trap hole, since it wouldn't destroy anything in this case, on account exiled force already tributed itself. Example number 2. The turn player special summons their Dark Grepher by discarding Destiny Hero Malicious. If neither player wishes to negate this summon, the turn player can respond to this first with the ignition effect of the Destiny Hero Malicious that is now in their graveyard. The non-turn player can then activate any appropriate effect at this time, but they do not get an opportunity to activate the DD Crow in their hand, targeting the Destiny Hero Malicious that was sent to the turn player's graveyard, since it has already been removed from play as the cost for its own effect. On the flip side, if the turn player discarded Malicious for Destiny Draw instead, they would not have priority to activate Malicious's effect when Destiny Draw resolves, since the last action was not a successful summon, and so the non-turn player would be able to activate DD Crow to preemptively remove Malicious from play. Example number 3. The turn player normal summons Lila, Lightsworn Sorceress. If neither player wishes to negate this summon, the turn player can activate Lila's ignition effect, declaring a spell or trap card as a target to destroy. The non-turn player can then respond to the successful summon with any effect that can be appropriately activated, such as Bottomless Trap Hole, which would destroy and remove Lila from play. Since Lila is unable to change her own battle position in this case when her effect attempts to resolve, she does not destroy the targeted spell or trap card. Example number 4. The turn player controls no monsters while the non-turn player controls at least one. So the turn player opts to special summon the Cyber Dragon from their hand. Neither player negates this summon, so the turn player can respond to this summon first by activating the ignition effect of the Level Eater in their graveyard, targeting Cyber Dragon. The non-turn player can then respond to this successful summon or effect with a card such as Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute will destroy all monsters on the field, and then when Level Eater's effect attempts to resolve, it is unable to reduce the level of its target and therefore will not be summoned. Thanks, Kaga. Got it all so far? I certainly hope so. But in case you don't, let's go over the common misconceptions that people usually have in respect to priority. Your turn, Kimihiro. First and foremost, cards do not have priority. Only players do. Your cards don't gain any magical powers to supersede game rules just because you may or may not have priority. Secondly, trigger effects and ignition effects are entirely different things. Trigger effects like that of Caius the Shadow Monarch aren't a matter of priority. They either happen or they don't. On that note, if a trigger effect would activate in response to some event, priority is immediately passed to the opponent of the player the effect belongs to for a response. So, for example, if the turn player tribute summons Caius the Shadow Monarch successfully, Caius's effect triggers and the target is selected for removal, then the non-turn player can respond to this summon or effect. In this scenario, the turn player does not have priority to activate a monster's spell speed 1 ignition effect, and cannot activate a spell speed 2 or higher effect until the non-turn player gives them the go-ahead to do so, since they currently hold since the non-turn player currently holds priority to respond to Caius. Priority does not allow the turn player to declare a synchro summon or a contact fusion. These are actions that can only be performed when neither party wishes to activate an effect. The turn player does, on the other hand, have priority to do whatever else they'd be able to do during their main phase, such as respond to those actions with a spell speed 2 or higher effect, as long as those actions do not use the chain. Also, there is no such thing as priority being stolen, guys. It is merely passed back and forth depending on the situation. Beautiful. I do believe that covers everything there is to know about priority, and I hope you've been enlightened as well. If you still have questions, you could always ask me, or hit up the Pojo Q&A section for answers from other users, many of which are better judges than myself. Trust me, you'll be in good hands. So, get up there with your newfound knowledge of the game and win some duels. Good night, and good luck.